Hey YouTube, this is Tom at TM Aquatics and I hope you're all doing great. It is time for a fish room update. And I believe April was the last time I did a fish room update, and man, a lot of stuff has changed. Now I know I recently put out a video and I said I was going to do an update and talk about everything other than the plecos. And that's because, well, I did do a pretty big pleco tour about a month ago. In fact, if you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and post it up above. Be sure to check that out when time allows. But it's also hard to do a fish room update and not talk about plecos because, well, my fish room, I focus on a lot of plecos. But we have a lot of other stuff to talk about, and like I said, a lot of things have changed. So stick around, because you don't want to miss this one. Alright YouTube, like I always do with my fish room tours, gonna start out here in the rec room with this 75-gallon tank. This is where I keep my group of 8 L494 Picoltia Rio Perus, and there's one right there. These fish, or these plecos, are very closely related to the L134 leopard frog pleco. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the plecos in this fish room tour. I did do a recent pleco tour, and I'll go ahead and drop the link up above if you want to learn a little bit more or see the plecos a little closer. I'll go ahead and drop the link up above. Be sure to check that video out at the conclusion of this video. So for today, I just want to focus on everything else going on in the tank. I have added some additional fish to this tank, and because this tank is out in my rec room, I do like to keep it a little more interesting, keep the livestock a little more diverse, and got to keep it looking nice and clean since we do spend quite a bit of time out here in the rec room. So with that being said, I do have quite a large cleanup crew in here, and right here you can see a couple of these pandagars. I did add a total of 4 of these to the tank, and they do a fantastic job. And not only do they do a great job, they just have a lot of personality, and I really enjoy watching these fish. And they're usually chasing one another. Sometimes they'll hang out like that together, but colorful, active, and again, they do a great job, but very peaceful. They don't bother anybody other than the other pandagars. I also have some super red bushy nose. I have 4 of them out here to help take care of the diatoms that might start. These super reds are very dirty, and what I mean by that is they just have a lot of pigmentation, not real clean. You can see they kind of look like they've been playing in the mud. And then I did add a couple of true Siamese algae eaters. A lot of my Bucephalandra in this tank had a lot of hair algae, especially down in the roots, and those true Siamese algae eaters just inhaled that hair algae. So I don't know that I have any hair algae left in the tank. If I do, it's very minimal. But all of the Buce, I mean, just about every one had a, hair algae, down in the root structure, and now it's just absolutely spotless. The pandagars have been working on a little bit of algae up here on the Anubias leaves as well. So fantastic additions to this tank. I do have cherry barbs out here, some ditherfish. Not only are they colorful, they're very peaceful and docile, but most importantly, they're cheap. They only cost about $1.99 at my LFS, and they make a great dither without breaking the bank. And then I do have 7 of my Hemigrammus caeruleus, the pink caerulean tetra, also known as the watermelon tetra. I have a total of 14 wild-caught caeruleans, but I do have 7 of them back in the fish room and working on a breeding project back there. I hope to get some eggs, get them spawning, and grow out. I'm hoping for at least 50. Just want to make them available to some other hobbyists that have expressed interest and know what they're doing with these egg scatterers. But anyways, this is the planted 75 out here in the, I shouldn't say planted, this is the 75-gallon tank out here in the rec room, my L494 tank. Alright, over here, this is my 120-gallon where I have 6 massive monster red spot severums. I do have a pair that keep doing what they've been doing for months. They kind of claim this side of the tank down here, and they just do a lot of that courtship behavior. Still have not had any spawns in this tank that I am aware of. Nonetheless, really enjoy this tank. It's not, these fish are not what I really envisioned in this tank when I got out of discus. They were a temporary solution just to put something in the tank. but they have just grown because when and just growing on me, I should say. When I bought them, they were about the size of a nickel or a quarter, and now they're all about 9 inches from tip of the nose to the tips of their streamers there. And yeah, they're just kind of wet pets to me at this point. If I never get a spawn out of them, that's fine. I still really like this tank, and I'm really enjoying these Severums. Just a lot of personality, and again, like I said, they kind of become my wet pet, if you will. Just nice looking fish. Now also in here with the Severums, I do have some Plecos, I have some Ancestris, I have L14 Sunshine, Scoby Ancestris, I have an L124 Orange Flame Para, I have a Gold Nugget, and I have an L114 Cactus, along with some Cycry Corydoras CW53s, and some Corydoras Agassizii. But anyways, that's the 120. Let's head back to the fish room, check things out, and everything going on back there. Alright YouTube, back here in the fish room. This is my 20 long over a 20 long over a 29 rack. A lot of things happening on this rack. This top tank is where I had my L134 Leopard Frog Plecos. This is the first grow out tank that the Pleco fry move into, and then they get moved into a 40 breeder where they finish growing out. But they've all been moved out, and I don't have any new fry coming up. So I did move my L260 Queen Arabesque Plecos in here recently. I have 4. There's one in that cave, there's one in that cave, and then there's one here. And then my male is back here. Ever since I moved him in this tank, the male is hiding behind the box filter. Sometimes he hides behind the sponge filter over there. But this is a temporary solution for these L260 Queen Arabesque Plecos. Not sure where they're going to end up, but they'll do just fine in here. They stay pretty small. They only get about 3.5 inches. So for 4 of them to be in this 20 long, it's not a big deal. Especially since I do water changes on that tank like every other day. But they'll be just fine for now. Down here in this 20 long, this is where I have my Nanostomus mortenthaleri, the red coral pencilfish. And you can see it's pretty well heavily planted, which they absolutely love. Now this tank did start out as my cull tank for shrimp. And because of that, the TDS is around 225. Now I would like to breed these coral fish, these pencilfish, but from everything that I've heard and read, for the eggs to really develop and hatch with any success, the TDS needs to be a lot lower, down in 30, 40, 50, 60, somewhere down in there. Really, really nice soft water, and I'm just not there yet. I am starting to lower it a little bit, slowly but surely, and hopefully we'll get there eventually. But even with that said, if I do get some eggs hatching out in this tank, I'm not sure the fry would survive because these coral pencilfish, these red coral pencilfish, are micro predators, and they're always looking for something that moves to turn into a nice tasty little snack. So I'm going to have to change my strategy a little bit if I really want to be successful spawning these. It's just not sure I have the tanks or the space right now to really do anything different. So we're just going to keep them in here until we get a little more serious about it. And then hopefully we'll be able to crack the code on spawning and breeding and raising out a bunch of fry from these red coral pencilfish. Absolutely love those fish. Down here on the bottom tank, this is an active breeding project. This is where I have my Hemigrammus coeruleus. They're a wild-caught tetra from Freshwater Exotics. They are called the pink cerulean tetra or the watermelon tetra. And I already know they don't show well on video. It's one of those fish that on video they don't look all that great, but in person they just are absolutely gorgeous fish. And I have had fry produced by this group. And actually when I moved them out of this tank, this tank was set up for my quarantine. And when I moved them out of this tank after they were in quarantine for 5 or 6 weeks, about 6 days after they were moved out, I found a fry swimming, and I was able to keep him alive for about 6 days, and then he passed away. But not sure why that happened. But in any case, I am trying to condition these guys for breeding because I would like to get some fry out of them. I have lowered the water level. I'll maybe lower it a little bit more and just trying to fatten them up and get them conditioned properly to start dropping a lot of eggs. But before I am successful at this, before I really want to get these guys going, I'm going to have to remove the bushy-nosed plecos and the snails. And I did see a little planaria, so I need to hit this tank with some no planaria and get rid of them. And then we'll let them go for a couple weeks, drop as many eggs as they possibly can. I'll pull them out, and hopefully we'll have some baby swimmers in here. And yeah, that'd be exciting, because I'd like to grow out 25, 30, 50 of these. Just absolutely beautiful big tetras. So anyways, enough on this rack. Let's head over to the pleco rack. Alright YouTube, this is what I call my pleco rack back here in the fish room, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I did a pleco only fish room tour here not too long ago, and again I've posted that link up above. So if you want to find out a little bit more about the plecos in these tanks, be sure to watch that video after this video. But up on top, that's my 33 gallon long L46 zebra tank. Down here in the middle, that's a 55 gallon, and that is where I keep my breeding colony of L134 leopard frog plecos. The one tank that I do want to spend just a minute on real quick is down here on the bottom. This is a 40 long, and this is where I keep my group of L333s. And I just recently rescaped this tank, so this is the first time that you are seeing this tank on video. And I added quite a bit more hiding places and wood and caves and so forth. And I'm not sure if you recall what this tank looked like, but I'll see if I have a picture or a short video clip, and if so, I will insert it right here. So I don't know if I have one or not, but if I did, you just saw it. But anyways, I believe the tank looks a lot better now. There's a lot more hiding places for these L333s. The L333s come out of the Rio Xingu down in Brazil, the same river system that the L46 zebras come out of, and it's a very moderate moving river system. So one thing I also did is I added the additional Coralia pump up here. That's a Coralia 800. It's pumping 800 gallons an hour, and it just adds a lot of water current, water flow, and it kind of goes in this motion here. It comes down and hits the bottom, and then it comes up and circulates like this. So we have the flow coming perpendicular to the cave openings, which is usually what's recommended, because that does most duplicate how their caves are established along the edges of the riverbanks in the river systems. But I believe these fish are more than likely a lot happier now and a lot more comfortable because there are so many more hiding places. The L333 is a pretty shy pleco, and probably the shyest that I have in my fish room. But just wanted to show you the rescape on the 40 long. I do have some dither fish in there, although they are hiding right now. More Praecox rainbow fish, which I do use in several of my tanks. They don't seem to mind the current, and they do just fine in the 80 to 82 degree temperature that I keep most of my pleco tanks at. But anyways, that is my 40 long rescaped. Alright, in this rack here, this is my fry or my grow out rack. All of these tanks are hooked up on an automatic water change system. They all get tap water and about 5 or 6 new fresh gallons of water each day. And I have mainly bushy nosed plecos over here, along with a bunch of ocellatus shell dwellers. I have 3 tanks dedicated to the ocellatus. There's probably 35 or 40 small ones in here. They're all back behind the corner. And then I have a bunch of Ancestris, super reds, and blue-eyed lemons in here, along with some leftover N-class endlers. I did keep some of my N-class endlers, but I think I'll end up getting rid of the rest. I do have a fry box up here with a bunch of super reds. Some of them did make it out into the tank. There's one here, there's one over there, there's another one up there. Probably have, I don't know, 30 or so super reds and a bunch of blue-eyed lemons in there. Do have a bunch of blue-eyed lemons in here, a couple different generations. I have I put my full red albino guppies in here as well. Another breeder box up here with another 40 or 45 blue-eyed lemons. See a bunch of diatoms in these ocellatus tanks. I normally keep some bushy-nosed plecos in there to take care of the diatoms. I had some large ones in there, recently bagged up all my large fry, took to an LFS for some store credit. Didn't have any plecos in here keeping the diatoms under control for, I don't know, about 3 weeks, and these tanks just got covered again. So I recently added some more plecos, couple, 2 or 3 in each tank, and I just saw one that's over on the side of the glass back here, but slowly but surely they're getting the diatoms under control. But this is my fry rack or my grow out rack, so on to the next. Alright YouTube, over here, this is what I call my shrimp rack for obvious reasons. 4 of the tanks have shrimp in them, 2 of them do not. All the 20 gallons, the 220 highs and the 220 longs are shrimp tanks. I don't really want to spend any time on the shrimp tanks in today's video, but just for the record, I have yellow goldenback neocaridina's in that tank. I have tangerine tigers up in that tank. In this tank here are Bloody Marys, and down here, those are my blue dreams. The 240 breeders, though, I do want to talk about those real quick. This 40 breeder here, this is where I keep my Lamprologus ocellatus gold shell dwellers. And I only have 3 adults now. The male has killed off a couple more of the breeding females. I have this female over here. And then I have this female over here. And then there's the male back there. But if you look real close, this shell down here, you might see some little baby fry. And I'm super excited about that because they did eat and kill their last spawn. And this is the first new spawn that I've had for a while now out of this tank. So hopefully they let these fry grow out. It is a big spawn, probably 25 to 30 fry. So I'm really excited to see that. I have been thinking about tearing this tank down and doing a restart on it. 3 little fish don't need a 40 breeder. So I am thinking about selling these last 3, 2 females and this male, and then starting over with some of the fry that I'm currently growing out. And if I did that, I would add more rock work in here to break up the lines of sight from one side of the tank to the other. And with that being said, hopefully get or be allowed to have more than 1 breeding male in this tank. If I can break up those lines of sight, I think I can do it. But I think I do need to do a reset on this tank, maybe replace the gravel as well. Have been fighting some cyano in this tank again. So I just would like to figure that out and start over with this tank. So anyways, tell me what you think down below if I should do that. I think it's a good idea. But down in this tank here, this 40 breeder, this is the tank that I am most excited about right now in my fish room. Out of all my tanks, this is the one that I am really excited with. This is where I keep my group of CW009 Green Laser Corydoras. There's nothing in this tank now except Green Laser Corydoras. I do have, I think, 3 or 4 blue-eyed ancestris fry that came out of a cave, and I haven't netted those out yet, but for the most part, just Green Laser Corys. Now, up until about 2 weeks ago, I had my L260 Queen Arabesque plecos in here. I had some rainbow fish, some Praecox Rainbow homegrown in here, and then I did have a couple pair of blue-eyed ancestris. And the tank, when I had those fish in here, the tank was kept to meet the needs of the L260 Queen Arabesque plecos. Once I removed everything out of here and just had the Green Laser Corys, I could really focus on dialing this tank in for the Corydoras, the water parameters, the pH, the temperature, all of that. And once I did that, they quickly rewarded me with a massive, huge spawn. And it's the first spawn that this group has provided. It was probably 120 to 130 eggs. I did manage to pick off about 100 to 110 eggs or so and put in the fry box, and out of that I ended up with about 80 CW009 Green Laser Corydoras fry. So those are little baby Green Laser Corydoras. Again, there's about 80. They're feeding on some microworms right now. They also like eating some baby brine shrimp and Hikari first bites. But again, the breeding group, or my adult group, I shouldn't say adult, my group of green lasers consists of juveniles, subadults, and adults. And I have a total of 18 down here, believe it or not. So anyways, let's head on to the next tank and then the last stand and wrap this up. All right, YouTube, I know we're at about the 20-minute mark, so we just have a couple more tanks, so we're going to wrap this up real quick. This tank here is a 40 breeder. This is a grow out tank for my L134 Leopard Frog Pleco Fry. I currently have somewhere around 48 to 50 L134s in here. Now I'm keeping about a dozen of these. Like this one down here I'm keeping, that's one of my first fry that I grew out. That one over there in the square cave is one that I'm keeping. And there's a few more that I have selected that I'm going to be keeping. Now back here there's quite a few in the corner. And then there's more over here. I do have a couple available on Get Gills for sale. I only ship these UPS overnight now after the post office screwed up about 6 shipments in a row. I will be bringing about 2 dozen of these to Cataclysm. If you're not familiar with Cataclysm, it is a convention for catfish and pleco and Corydoras enthusiasts. It's September 13th through the 15th. I'll post some information in this clip. And if you're interested in picking up some rare plecos, some rare catfish, wood cats, Corydoras, catfish or Cataclysm is the place you need to be. So anyways, enough on this tank. Let's wrap it up with the last 2 75-gallon tanks. Alright YouTube, and the last 2 tanks here are the double 75s. And not going to spend a lot of time here. So this is my 397 tank, my L397. I do have some blue-eyed ancestris in that tank as well. And then just a group of about 15, 16 different tetras, some rummy nose green neon tetras and some ember tetras. Up here, a few more fish going on up here. You can clearly see I have some more Praecox rainbow fish. And then in addition to my L264 Sultan plecos in here, I have my Philippine Blue Platinum Pearl Scale. That is a mouthful, but I bought 7, and out of the 7 I got very lucky. I ended up with 3 pair. I was hoping to get at least 1 pair, but I ended up with 3 pair. There's one here, another one here, another pair over here, and here's the odd man out. Sucks to be him. But they get along pretty good, even though they are constantly spawning in this tank. There's not too much aggression, considering. But this pair here, they're getting ready to lay on this piece of slate, and so far I've not attempted to keep any of the eggs. I might try to keep a batch. Just depends. Angelfish don't sell for a lot up here in this market, but it would still be fun to grow out a few fry. But again, these are my Philippine Blue Platinum Pearl Scale angels, and absolutely gorgeous angelfish. So yeah, enough on this. Alright YouTube, well, we're going to come back over here to the red coral pencilfish and wrap up this video. So tell me what you thought below. Again, if you're interested in seeing any more of the plecos that I keep in my collection in greater detail, be sure to check that pleco video out. You can see that pair going in the Subwasser tang and spawning. Just wish I could get some of those eggs to hatch and get some of the fry out of there. But tell me what you thought. Again, if you want to see more of the plecos, check out the link up above and the recent pleco tour. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them down below. I always appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, again, appreciate it if you do that as well. Till the next one, folks, appreciate you taking time to watch one of my videos. Until the next one, we'll catch you all later.